Hi, I'm Peaceful Nik the Medium, and today I'm here to talk about how science proves mediumship is real. Welcome to my live stream. I do have a playlist on my TikTok channel called Science Proves Mediumship, so feel free to browse through those videos. I am excited to talk to you guys today about this very important subject. Hello, Beth Cannon Cloth. Hi, I'm Peaceful Nik. Hi, Lynn. I'm here to talk about science and mediumship. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Click those likes. And hi, Angie. I literally just popped on here, so share away if you would like. I am very excited to talk about this subject. I think there's a little more interest than I thought there was in this subject. I know Scotty the Medium has been bugging me for a long time to make more videos about this. And I started to, and then I made some, and then I took a pause. Hi, Steph. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Everybody follows Psychic Medium Steph. She's wonderful. Thank you for all the likes. I definitely want to answer some questions about science and mediumship, so please put them in the chat. And so Steph, a couple days ago, I posted a video called Your Consciousness Can Interact with the Whole Universe. And it's probably got 25 or 26,000 views, which for me now is rare. I used to get that all the time, but the algo has changed. And so I've had a lot of questions, a lot of comments on that video, and it compelled me to do this live. So I really want to answer questions about that. And the premise of the video is an article written by a journalist, which, great question, Angie. For whatever reason, that got muted. I'll answer that in just a second. For some reason, I guess the trolls were like, well, that journalist isn't a scientist. Well, no, because it's an article written by a journalist. Journalists aren't always scientists. So anyway, but it is based on scientific research. So Angie wants to know, can anyone pick up this gift? I have heard yes and no. Yes. We are all, and this goes to science. So, can anyone be a medium or a psychic? My answer is flat out yes. So, the reason is it goes to evolution. We are animals. Humans are animals. We are in the primate family, the hominid family. And so we have animal instincts. And thank you for the shares, everyone, and the likes. We have animal instincts. So our animal instincts are part of what psychics and mediums use to communicate, to get precognitive information. Psychics for the future, mediums to talk to your loved ones in spirit. So, for example, animals sometimes, very often, know when disasters are going to occur. If you look at the big earthquake in Indonesia, I don't know, about 15 years ago or so, that killed 250,000 people, the animals knew beforehand and took higher ground. So there were hardly any animals killed in that earthquake. But because humans have unlearned to pay attention to our instincts. And this happens, this causes a lot of trouble for humans. We should be connected. Hi, Jules. Hi, everyone who's joining. Hi, Marissa. We should still be connected to those animal instincts. And part of becoming a medium or a psychic is tuning back into those natural capabilities we all have as humans. Hi, everyone. So part of that is listening. See, we all have these human instincts. We all have these precognitive thoughts, but most people ignore them or don't think anything of them. So you have to learn to listen. Trust your gut. You know how sometimes you watch some type of sporting event and you can feel the energy shift from one team to another. Say there's one really good play or one really bad play, and it shifts the momentum from one side to the other. That energy is palpable. It's real. You can feel it. And that's part of what we use as mediums and psychics to communicate. I'm sure Steph could chime in on this subject as well. So it's important to know that the energy of our consciousness is still plugged in to the energy of the universe, the earth, everything. So, hi, Mama Bologna. Hi. Keep clicking likes. I just got started a couple minutes ago, and share the video. Hi, Karen. I know it's a weird time in the middle of the day, but I have a live on another platform, the FB, tonight on my FB page. And I have readings and lives, and I'm teaching classes all week. So this is like literally my only time to go live. So no other questions. Put some questions in there. So the article I posted the video about a couple days ago had a bunch of questions. I encourage you, if you look through the comments in some of my videos where there's questions about articles I'm referring to, there's some links in some of them that take you straight to the article where you can click the links to the scientific papers. Now, the interesting thing about science that upsets me and many people is science often has information hidden behind a paywall. And that is extremely frustrating, because the example I gave of the article I posted the video about the other day, first of all, it's a Popular Mechanics article about actual science with scientific journals referenced to it. But the Popular Mechanics article is behind a paywall. So I used a remove paywall. Don't tell anybody. You can literally see it at the bottom of my video. I got the link off Reddit, weirdly enough. Hi, Lola. And hi, Tracy. So I got the article and I read it. But then when you click the links inside the article to go to the journal articles, often these newer articles are behind paywalls. And it makes it hard for people to access information. And I don't really understand why that is. Why do we have to pay for this information when scientists are getting paid to do the study by somebody, depending on what science it is, and then you want people to pay you again to read an article? So a journal article. A journal article is a peer-reviewed article that scientists with PhDs in a group review the information and say, okay, this is legitimate, this is worthy, this is good science, you follow the protocols. So come on, one more like and I'll be at 1,000 likes. So hi. So we shouldn't have to be scientific information shouldn't be embargoed like that. And so when I was doing the video about the article, some trolls were like, well, thank you guys. Some trolls were like, well, this is not a legit. I'm like, well, it's a regular journalist article about scientific study. So it just frustrates me. Hi, Karma Eyes. I'm glad you're here. Ooh. I'm glad you're here. So does anybody have any questions, or you just want me to go through my list of little points I was going to talk about? If you have a question about how science proves mediumship or anything about any basic science, I filmed a podcast with somebody like you, Ben Meyer, recently, and he kind of chunked it up into little videos. I posted them here. One was about we were talking about evolution and how people complain that it's just a theory. Now, I was a science teacher and professor for 20 years and still a science communicator and informal international educator. But I was talking to Ben in the podcast about evolution, and evolution is a fact. Right? So people are like, it's just a theory. It's not a theory. It is, you have to know what the scientific term theory and the everyday term theory, those are different. Those mean different things. So a scientific theory is something that there will be no end to, like evolution on Earth. We humans are still evolving. So we are still in the process of evolving. But we can see that all of these different organisms evolve. So we have facts to back that up. And I was talking about dinosaurs having feathers and how when my sons were young, they're grown adults now, when they were young, the scientists weren't sure. They didn't have enough fossil evidence. They only had one, and it was Archaeopteryx. And then probably, just a second, Mads. There was this show, this big discovery about these layers of sedimentary rock that had covered up dinosaurs. This was in China. And when sedimentary rock can be opened like pages in a book, and inside those layers were all of these feathered dinosaurs going back hundreds of millions of years. And so they have a ton of scientific evidence showing the evolution of the feathers from the scales, etc. Thank you, Steph. Please put a question if you have one about, energy and consciousness. Mads wants to know, why do my family and spirit never come through? Well, there can be several reasons for that. And, I could give you 10 different answers. One of them may be you aren't hearing what you want to hear from whatever medium you're going to. Another answer may be, and that's very common, sometimes people who get readings aren't believing what they're hearing or aren't understanding the evidence they're hearing. Sometimes the medium isn't developed and trained. That's very common. Sometimes our loved ones in spirit want us to heal prior to them coming through, depending on there's a lot of variables in all of these situations. Sometimes the client or sitter, may be blocked, as far as emotionally blocked and unwilling to accept the information. I gave a reading to someone, 5 or 6 months ago, and this person was very blocked off. There was no flow. And everything I said to him was, no. And it was very difficult. He just was not ready to receive the information I was giving. I was giving him information. He just wasn't ready to receive it. So if you have a reason, Mads, if you think any of those apply, let me know. Steph says, yes, not having preconceived ideas before reading is essential. Yeah, and as you know, Steph, and any other medium that may be on here, clients often get psychic amnesia, or they think everything we tell them had to happen, within a few days of the person they love passing. Well, something we tell a client could have happened 20 or 30 years ago. Something we tell a client might happen in 2 weeks. Something we tell a client, and this is my favorite, has to be validated by someone else who's not present at the reading. So there's a lot of different things. And having expectations. So when somebody books a reading with me, I send my website automatically sends a confirmation, then I send one out separately, and they all say, be free of expectations, because sometimes your expectations when they're not met, you think it was a bad reading, but the spirit, your loved one in spirit has a different idea of what you need than what you think you need. Let's see. Steph asking your loved ones for a keyword to give the medium. Oh, I know. And I've actually naturally gotten that in readings without the client asking. But the worst is when the client asks, because I freeze, the spirit freezes, because I'm like, now I'm put on the spot. If I'm wrong, they're going to think I'm a bad medium. But it's not that. It's that that's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of words. There's a lot of words. And as I said, sometimes I get it naturally without the client asking. I'll talk about a certain subject that they're like, I told them to say that. But when they ask, it's very like, what? They're not going to answer. Because then you feel human pressure. My human mind comes in. Okay, let's see. Mad says, I feel like I'm open to receiving information. I just hope I can communicate at some point. Yeah, you have to find the right medium for you. You have to find the right medium. Not everybody's a good match. I'm not the medium for everyone, and I don't expect to be the medium for. There are some clients I get, and I'm thinking, I don't know if this is the right match, you know. Hi, Cha-Cha. I'm here finally back on TikTok. I'm doing good. I've been very busy. I've been avoiding this app a lot for, because you know how it is here. I know. La Mama Margarita. Yeah, I sent you a message. Oh, ask me. This is my Science and Mediumship live, Cha-Cha. That's why I'm here. Science and Mediumship. Please ask. I didn't see it. Was it very recently? Or hopefully it didn't go to like a fake me. That happens too. Hi, Jenny. So while we wait for Cha-Cha's question, she's a wonderful medium. She goes live a lot doing readings for people. Oh, thank you, Mads. Oh, Steph, you have to thank the filters and the lighting. Wait, I have a grandbaby coming on the way, and I'm like, I don't know if if they're gonna. I got to take all the filters off so I look like a grandma. That's funny. The other night, my friend sent me a picture of the moon. Okay. Don't you wish it was faster and easier to type in these little tiny things? Waxing crescent, okay. But the moon in the picture was full. Oh, that's because the cameras are really super bad at picking up on the light, especially when it's dark outside or almost dark. It blurs it out. That's unfortunately a lot of people who post pictures of orbs are not always, because I do believe some orbs are real, but many times a tiny piece of dust hanging when the light is hitting it a certain way, and then our cameras expand the light around the dust. It's an optical, it's a lens problem, the way the lens picks up the light. Yeah. I take a million pictures of the moon, and my son taught me the other night when we were in LA a couple weeks ago. If you put the little square, I don't know if you have an iPhone, but on my phone, you can put the little yellow square around the moon, and then there's a little tiny sun. And if you hold that sun down and move it, you can adjust the background lighting. And the more low you go on the little line there, the clearer the moon will look, because I'm a moon maniac and I take so many pictures of it, and I'm always disappointed until he showed me that. Yeah, but if it's daylight and you see the moon out, because, you know, sometimes it's out in the day, the pictures are so much more clear when it's in the day. Because the light, there's already light and light, so it doesn't blow it out as much. Mads says, what are some of the ways science has proven the afterlife? This is why I'm here. That's why I made my list. All right, so I'll have to send you an account here that does live videos of the moon. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Hi, Ray True Colors. All right, so some of the ways, and please feel free to ask me as many questions as you want in the chat about what I'm talking about. So, our consciousness, our soul is energy. So if you have, and I might have to draw some stuff out, because as a teacher, I need my little chalkboard. So the universe was made of only energy. You couldn't see it. No, you couldn't see it visibly. If you had a special telescope then, which didn't exist, you could see it, the temperature differences. So that energy is what makes up our consciousness. Okay, same energy. That energy made particles. So we get some particles in the universe. So can you see the little dots? So it was just energy and then the particles. Those particles became known as subatomic particles, which became known as protons, neutrons, and electrons. Those protons, neutrons, and electrons are what make up our body. So that made everything in the universe. I'm not going to go down that road unless you guys want me to. But those protons, neutrons, and electrons made atoms. So energy first, which is what our consciousness is made of. Then protons, neutrons, and electrons. And then people. I'm skipping a lot. Okay, people. All right, there's a whole 1,000 steps in between there. Okay, thank you, Cha-Cha. Here we are. That's a people. There's a people. We are made of atoms, okay? I should have put atoms. Protons, neutrons, and electrons. All right. Our brain and our body has an energetic field. Our heart puts out an energetic field. Our brain puts out an energetic field. But inside our body is our consciousness or soul. I think they are the same, essentially. Inside our body is our consciousness or soul that's made of energy. Okay? That energy, when our body no longer works, that energy goes back into the universe or the spirit world or heaven. When I was talking to Ben the other day on the podcast, he goes, when you say the universe, what do you mean? I mean the universe, the whole universe. So that energy is our soul, and it goes back out into the spirit world, heaven, etc. I still have my body, and my consciousness, which is made of energy, is still in my body. Because of something called quantum entanglement, I can communicate with the souls or consciousness of people whose bodies are no longer alive. And this is the same in my belief as how every medium communicates. Because we have entangled particles, we are connected to the universe. We are made from the things in the universe. All these steps I skipped in here between atoms and people are where stars and planets were made. And we are made of recycled stars and planets. I posted a video about this yesterday. You can watch the whole thing. It's like 7 or 8 minutes long. We are made of all of the same stuff that the universe was made of. Our consciousness is energy. It is connected and entangled with all of the rest of the universe. An example of how scientists test this is called random number generators. Random number generators are machines that are all over the world that just generate random numbers. And if you're old enough, I'm not sure how old you are, Mads, but if you remember 9/11 in 2001, the random number generators just a few seconds or minutes before 9/11 all had a very different reaction. The numbers, instead of being random, became like a stream of numbers that all should not have been a stream of numbers. Like they made sense instead of being random. You can Google this, random number generators 9/11, and you'll see the reports about it. That tells me and some scientists that our consciousness precognitively, before 9/11 happened, were tapped into something connected to the consciousness of the people who planned this attack. And we knew at some level it was going to happen. So our energy affected the random number generators. And there are people who predicted that as well. So there's also a video I posted, I think yesterday, where Neil deGrasse Tyson has he puts this little hat on, and it's got electrodes inside of it, and he's concentrating to this little machine to turn the lamp on beside him, but he's not connected to the lamp at all. So he has to focus his energy and send his brain waves to this machine to turn the lamp on. And the link to the full video is in the comments, so you can watch it yourself. Mad says, I believe energy can't be created or destroyed. True. But the other day, someone got me in my mind and kept telling me it died with me. You mean something got in your mind? Explain what you mean. And yeah, E equals mc squared is energy equals mass times the constant speed of light squared. Energy and matter can go back and forth. They can only be transformed from one to the other. They cannot be destroyed. They can only be transformed. Like in Oppenheimer, they were taking where they made the big explosion. They took atoms and took apart the atom, and that's what makes, boom, go. A person kept telling me that it died with me and went on and on about it, and it got in my head. Oh, like your consciousness? So I have a great story about that. Before I was a medium, because I, worked in science for a long time, but ever since I was a kid, I was very, very afraid of death. And I had panic attacks up into my 40s, to my late 40s at night, because I was so afraid. And I'm not afraid of physical death. I was afraid of that my consciousness went away. So I would go back and forth with the E equals mc squared. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Our consciousness is energy, so it has to go somewhere. And I would go back and forth and drive myself crazy. But when I became a medium, and I started giving reading after reading after reading after reading, where there was evidence that I would have absolutely no way of knowing, specific details about people's lives. Hi, Ben. I was talking about you a minute ago. I'm glad you're here. Everybody follows somebody like you. That's Ben. He's the one that had me on the podcast. So when I became a medium and I was doing all these readings and getting all of this evidence, I realized as a scientist, Oh, I know everybody's probably at work. I used to do that on my lunch break too. I would watch TikTok. Of course, who doesn't? But after all those readings I did, I realized there's no way that I could know this information unless I was tuning in to the energy of their loved ones in spirit. So that means if their loved ones are in spirit, I will go to spirit. Hi, Miss Molly. How are you? Say hello. Everybody follow Miss Molly. She's the Foley. She's the finder of lost items. But it has a different picture on there than your regular picture. Oh, yeah. So did I. Yeah, I would wake up my husband several nights a week from a dead sleep. I'd be just brought out into sheer panic. And in the 5 years since I've been a professional medium, I've had one of those attacks. And it was when I was under a lot of stress. And it was very brief. So, have you tried meditating? Yeah. So you have to, you have to do something to kind of rewire your brain. Have you ever listened to Joe Dispenza? Yeah, I thought so, Steph. It asked me. Oh, good. So I have, Mads, I have videos on my YouTube channel. If you go to Peaceful Nik the Medium on YouTube, I've got about 1,100 followers over there, subs over there. It's not a lot, but I appreciate all of them. I have a playlist that's mediumship, information, and learning. And I have videos there. You can, there's tons of videos. I have basically a couple of videos of my beginners classes. It's kind of condensed and squeezed into, there's a 1 hour and a 2 hour version. All kinds of good stuff over there. I think you'll enjoy it. And you can email me with any questions. Too. It's all my email information's linked in all the videos on YouTube. It's funny, Steph, I had to unmute your comment. It got muted. And no ethical medium or reader will ever solicit you for a reading ever. That is 100% true. Yeah, so that's Mad's good point. You asked for a sign and you got it. 5 deer, yeah, that's like saying, yeah, we're here. We are here. That's great. Asking for signs was one of the first things that happened to me where I knew for sure my spirit guide was real. Because remember, I come from a science background and career, and when my mentor, my mediumship mentor, said we had to find our spirit guide and ask them for a sign, I was like, okay, here we go. I was very skeptical. And I asked for a snow globe. I've told the story 1,000 times. It's okay. Let them be confused. It's okay if other people don't understand. I asked for a snow globe. It was March. Within an hour, I said it in my head so my phone couldn't hear me. Within an hour, I saw a snow globe advertisement for a psychic on Instagram. And I'm like, okay, that could be a coincidence because, I follow psychic stuff on there. And then the next day I went to a golf shop with my husband, and remember it's March, so there was no Christmas stuff up. I always associate Christmas with snow globes. And there was a golf snow globe on the counter, and I was like, oh my God, That's crazy. And then that Monday, I went to work and I had to go into what we called the ARC, which was it's where the students with learning disabilities, learning differences would go. And I hadn't been in there because I was new at this job. And I turned to my left, and this woman had worked there for 40 years, and she had a wall of hundreds of snow globes that she had been collecting from parents for years. And I was like, okay, I get it. You're here. I'll stop being so skeptical. Mads can't have dreams. I have so many dreams. I can't stop my dreams. It's yeah. Yeah, Marissa, that was for me like, okay, I see you. I see you. You're here. I'm trying to find everybody that knows me knows my voice goes out after a little while. Oh wow, that you had a dream with a baby deer. Perfect. Perfect. So, any more questions about science and mediumship? Because I have more on my list. I've tried so hard. There's 7.5 thousand likes, which I appreciate. You guys must be clicking like crazy. And 9 whole people watching. I know it's the middle of the day. I shouldn't complain. If you guys are interested in life between lives or afterlife stuff, this is a great book. I'm sure Steph has watched it or read it. Screenshot. What's 8.4, Steph? Is that the likes? This is a great book. This is a very great book. Oh, mine must not be updated. It's crazy, this app. There is something that scientists and mediums agree on. Oh. Mads, that's not a crazy question. Her question is, as far as past lives, could we have been dinosaurs? I don't see why not. I think that animals have a consciousness as well. If you've ever had a pet that you have loved and you feel like they're a human, that's a great example of... No, I love answering questions. Having a pet that you were very close to and you feel very bonded to is a great example of how we can, it's almost like you can tune into your pet and telepathically communicate because they have a consciousness as well. But I see no reason why we couldn't be dinosaurs. I mean, in past lives, not now, because, there's no dinosaurs, except for birds, I guess. There are consciousness, if consciousness, as my theory goes, comes from the energy in the universe, there would be, bye, Steph, thank you. If consciousness comes from the universe, then there would be consciousness inhabiting any being with kind of, I like to say, like higher order thinking because of my biology background. Yeah, Marissa also, and Mads. Yeah, you can communicate with your animals for sure. But Oz, I don't think that's really you. But if it is, welcome. Yeah, so any organism with higher order thinking, like I don't think mosquitoes necessarily have a consciousness. I don't know about reptiles. I haven't made a final decision on that. I just don't I don't know. But definitely mammals. Why is there a difference? I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. I think that if you look at animals with maternal instincts, I think that's a big indicator. Yeah, rats are super smart. So are pigs. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was getting ready to talk about the block universe theory. That's the theory. Let me take this out. The block universe theory is the theory that in physics, that all time in the universe is happening simultaneously. And hi, Carrie. Mediums, most mediums I talk to and know, believe the same thing, that all time in the universe is happening simultaneously. Oh, you're welcome anytime. I'm happy to talk about it. So I don't think scientists know that they agree with mediums on the time thing, but we could have, let me get a little notepad here. So let's say all of these pages in this little post-it notepad are all a different life that you've lived. And they're all stacked up. But they're all happening at the same time. So people ask me all the time, if my grandpa reincarnated already, how can you communicate with them? Well, because all of their lives are happening simultaneously, and I can communicate with any of them. And the big issue with communicating with people from many years ago, before maybe you were born, is you have to be able to validate the information. Like, I see people online doing mediumship for famous people that have died. And I just think, wow, because you can Google a million facts about people. There are autobiographies and biographies about so many people. You could literally read a book about, let's say, Elvis, and then do a reading on YouTube, which is where I saw these things. And it's like, but who's there to validate any of that information? Nobody. You can do readings for famous people, but you have to have a client there to validate the information. And if I did a reading for someone famous, I would want the evidence to be specific to where no one could have looked it up. Like, I could not have looked it up if it was something about Prince, the singer. I would not want to give any information that wasn't the only information I would want to give would be information that was never published anywhere. Like, if his friend was my client and I was giving information, I would want it to be so unusual, I guess, that only the client in front of me would know and the internet wouldn't know. Because you know how it is. You can look anything up. Hi, Leah. Thank you for the follow. So, that's, time in the universe, the black universe theory. Higher dimensions, that's another subject I've made some videos about. When I talk to my clients, when I do my intro, I say that we are getting shadows of information or glimpses of information from your loved ones in spirit, because we are in the three-dimensional world. Well, there are higher dimensions. So if you imagine those higher dimensions as a tall building, and the people in the spirit world, let's say, are on the 10th floor, they can see every floor below them, 9, 8, 7, 6, all the way down. They can see everything that's happening and any other dimension below them. We are only getting glimpses or shadows of what they're telling us. So we're trying to interpret to the best of our ability what they're showing us. I also like to tell my clients that when I am getting information, I'm getting information from my life experience, my memories. For example, if I see a palm tree, it might mean Florida. But to you, it might mean the Bahamas. So I'm doing my best to interpret what they're showing me into valid information for you to understand. And sometimes palm trees may be significant and sometimes they may not be. That's just an example. So that is, we're just interpreting what we see, feel, hear. I get a lot of physical feelings in my readings. I have a lot of claircognizance, which is just, things. I had that my whole life. I didn't know it was a mediumship ability. I was actually surprised to find out that everybody doesn't know things before they happen. I know that sounds silly, but I was surprised by that. Any other questions? A great thing to read about if you're skeptical about the afterlife are near-death experiences. There are some great near-death experiences that are recorded. My favorite are people who are scientists, surgeons, things like that, people with a skeptical background in any part of life. They don't have to be a scientist, but people who wouldn't have believed it unless it happened to them, because they kind of have a different perspective on it. It convinces them because they experience it. It's like, seeing a UFO. People are skeptical until they see one themselves. Have you read Journey of Souls, Marissa? Yeah, Mads, I agree. When they can explain what happened in the operating room. Oh, you should read. You can get it like super, like $12, I think, on Amazon or something. It's not NDEs, but it's close to that. It's life, lives between lives. This guy, Dr. Michael Newton, passed away a while ago, but he was a psychotherapist, and he explains in the beginning of the book that he was just doing his job, and he was a master hypnotherapist, and he was putting people into hypnotherapy and just to heal trauma. And one woman slipped into a life between lives, and he didn't know what was happening. He's like, what is this? And then over time, he ended up doing hypnosis on 7,000 people. And he's got a few books about this, but this is the one that I always promote, so because it's the first one. And the fact that the stories they tell are so very similar over and over, people who didn't know each other, and these stories are old, like it was way before the internet when this was happening. So that I like it because it was before the internet. Mad says, do spirits judge what we do in life or question our choices? And no, there is zero judgment. The spirits have lived human lives, so they know what it's like to live here. So no, there's no judgment. There's no anger. There's no bitterness. There's no resentment. A lot of times I get questions from clients about, my mom was mad at me when she died. She didn't agree with my lifestyle, etc., etc. And then they're worried. Is she mad at me? No. Your soul, the way I describe it is this. If you've ever given birth to a child, and you hold that child the first time, and you feel that love, that instant, overwhelming love. And this, I've never adopted a child, so I can't speak to that personally. So if anybody has, let me know. But when you give birth to a child, most of the time, there's this instant, overwhelming feeling of love and bond. And that is the closest thing I can describe from my information that I've gathered from my readings. That is the closest thing I can describe how it feels in spirit. That overwhelming, pure love that is so beautiful and wonderful that nothing else matters. So, but it's like magnified times a million times. And that's another thing that's explained in the book about how the love feels and how colors are brighter. And I've actually interviewed a couple of people who've had NDEs, and they say the same thing. Like, the colors are brighter. Everything's more beautiful. Everything's more wonderful. And the love is just overwhelming. I'll never forget when I held my babies after they were born. That there's just no way to describe it. And mothers, I've heard many mothers say the same thing. Yeah, it is wonderful. It was pretty. I'm so happy with the experience. Yay. Hi, Forever 16 Mom. I'm doing well. I'm answering some mediumship questions and talking about science and mediumship. How are you doing? Hi, Jim. You have any questions? Let's see. I'm getting a little tired. I think I've been on here for at least an hour. Good. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to wrap up here soon. I have some work to do and emails to answer for my other job, and I'm just like, more scheduling. I've been avoiding it. And I've been, we were stuck in LA. I have to go, bye, Mads. Thank you for all the questions. Email me if you want, peacefulnik, Nik the Medium @gmail.com. If you have more questions. And watch the videos on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I was really exhausted for 2 full weeks after my trip. I was teaching a class at USC in LA, and it was during that Delta crisis, and we got stuck, and I was like really tired after that because that was an ordeal. All right, no more questions. Thank you, everyone. Hi, Roses. I don't know, Rose something. Hi. I'll be live on my Facebook page tonight, Peaceful Nik the Medium, at 7:30 Eastern, and I'll be doing card pulls and mediumship readings. You are very welcome. And I hope to see you guys over there, and I will talk to you later. Thank you, guys. Bye. Have a good day.